All right, I think we can all agree it's time. It's time for the Chargers to make a bold move here. They have cleared salary cap space. They are, after letting Keenan Allen walk, or after Keenan Allen walking, depending on how you want to see that scenario play out. So they have cleared cap space. They have the ability. They could go out and sign somebody, but also they have the NFL draft coming up where they have the 5th pick. So I've thought of a couple scenarios here in which the Chargers could go big on this, to be completely honest with you. And I just want to give a couple of my thoughts in this video, and then we'll move on from there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about a trade that I think they could pull off, and then I want to talk about the draft and how they can stock up and go big even in the draft with a trade in that as well. And we even have a mock draft for you. So really full video, really excited about it. Before I get into that, if you are new to this channel, welcome. We want to be your go-to spot for Chargers content. You might look at the background and be like, man, what is all those jerseys up there? Well, we live in Michigan. Don't get me wrong, we are Lions fans, but we also really like this guy, Jim Harbaugh. And because we're Michigan fans, we're like, we are following this guy to the West Coast. So this isn't our first channel, but man, oh man, did it just feel like the right fit with the Chargers. And we're so excited to see what Harbaugh is going to do with this team. I think the excitement's not as high right now for most people because of what they've done in free agency, but that's okay. That doesn't make the things happen. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with a mock draft, and I'm going to start in here with the PFF simulator. I've never done this on this channel. I've done it on my others, but I wanted to just kind of see what this would look like for everybody. So I know that there's a chance that at least one of the quarterbacks will still be available. In this one, it ended up going Williams and May 1 and 2. Harrison 3, Neighbors 4. So we're on the clock. So I went and I offered a trade to the Minnesota Vikings. We'll give you number 5. You give us 11 and 23 in the first round. So we gain an extra pick, get another, hopefully have the opportunity to get another playmaker, kind of see what that looks like. And it was a 38% chance of being accepted. And they, guess what? Accepted it. All right. So here's the beautiful thing about the Chargers this year, and I'm going to go ahead and resume this. All right, the beautiful thing about the Chargers this year is that they actually have a lot of needs. I know it's not a great problem to have, but it's a good problem to have on the side of, oh man, like we really should draft anywhere, and we could draft anywhere. So the hope is that you have a guy like Rome Odunze fall, or maybe even Brock Bowers falls to us, which it's very interesting that Atlanta would have Bowers, and that did not happen. All right, so what we're looking at here is where should we go? And there's a couple positions to be filled. I think corner is a good position to be filled. I think you could go Troy Fautino if you want to help your offensive line and protect your franchise in corner. Or at tackle. So there's a lot of places we could go here, but for the idea of let's just keep rolling, I'm going to go with the tackle instead of the corner, because that just feels like an all-out Harbaugh type of selection. Let's just beef up our offensive line, and now you have one of the better offensive lines in the league if that pans out. So for this next one, here's what I was talking about. I think if you are in this back third of the draft, there is still a ridiculous amount of talent available specifically, and you could even go into the next round if you wanted to with this, but Brian Thomas Jr., if you watch the film on this guy, I know he was opposite of Malik Neighbors. He is phenomenal. His size, his speed is ridiculous. He's 6'4". He's listed at 205 pounds. I think at the combine he came in at 205 to 210, somewhere in there. He's running a 4.3. Like his RAS score is going to be through the roof. All right. And you have another guy who's doing the same thing, and Adonai Mitchell. All right, 6'4". He was over 200 pounds at the combine as well, and he ran in the 4.3s. Now, 40 time isn't everything, but when you put film on it too, I like Brian Thomas over Mitchell, so I'm going to take Thomas and be very happy with what I just found in the future. He is very, very good. Now, as we go into this next area of the draft, we can do a few different things. I could bolster up the middle of the defensive line with a guy like Braden Fisk. All right, that would be a good pick. I could go corner. I could bring back Mikey Sainristil. That was a good nickel corner at Michigan, and I think he's a guy who completely understands what they're doing here as well. I really do. I could bring in Kamari Lassiter, Rakestraw, and all that kind of stuff. But again, I am a firm believer of you build in the trenches. You build in the trenches. All right. So I know Fisk is there, and I'm going 3 rounds on this. So if we want to look for defensive interior, we have to ask ourselves the question at pick 69, who's going to be available? I think Jenkins could be available. I think Sweat could be available. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that chance, and I'm going to go ahead and take Sainristil right here with pick 37, which is a little nuts to me. And I'm actually going to go Rakestraw because I believe he's more of a pure outside corner. So I'm going to go Rakestraw, and of course, somebody else was drafted right after that. So let's see what's available here to us. And it fell exactly how I was hoping to, Tavondre Sweat. I think you also have the idea that you could take Corum, but believe it or not, he might still be around later. So I'm going to take Sweat, and then we're going to finish out this draft, which is the 3rd round, and we'll get a grade. We'll see how I did based on what PFF likes, all right? And PFF says I get an A-. They actually say my first pick was my worst one. We traded down to 11. We still got a starting caliber right tackle with extremely high upside. All right, we've got our wide receiver. We got help at the corner position, and we got our big boy run stuffer in the middle. This is the type of big move that I would like to see the Chargers make. They can do it in the draft. Smart teams build through the draft, not through free agency. Now, if you want to partner Herbert with a good wide receiver, there's a wide receiver over in Cincinnati by the name of T. Higgins that is looking to get traded. All right, he's looking to get traded. He is out having permission to go ahead and seek a trade. He is on the franchise tag, and he's coming off his worst NFL season. But even in that worst NFL season, he graded out well. This is a guy who's consistently, over his first 3 years, he had 908 yards, 1,100 yards, and 1,030 yards in his first 3 seasons. He's a guy who's going to put up decent numbers. I mean, basically, he's like Mike Williams here. I don't know how else to say it. So if you can't bring Mike Williams back, I'd be looking into that. I don't know what the trade's going to cost you for T. Higgins. Maybe a 3rd-round pick because he doesn't have a lot there. But then you know you're going to be getting a guy who you're going to also have to probably sign to an extension after this because you're not going to just bring him in and play him on the franchise tag. So there's a lot to figure out. But these are the type of moves that I think everybody wants to see the Chargers make. You need to acquire talent because there's multiple positions. But as I look back and I look at like this draft position, like if I can just pick up one extra pick and I have 4 picks in the first 70, I should be able to get 4 starters, at least 3. 3 of those would be starters, and I think you take a guy, whether it's Adonai Mitchell, whether it's Brian Thomas Jr., whether it's, any of those guys later, mid to late first round, and you pair them with Herbert, they're going to have success because Herbert's one of the absolute best in the league. So let's make it happen. All right, it's time for the Chargers to make a move. Maybe this could be it. All right, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching.